Should we start? Like you can see.
Yes, please.
Okay, sure. Okay, so good morning to all. How all are you? How are you? How's your day? It's a weekend. We'll try to keep this session interactive. So how are you? Good. Ravinder is good. OnePlus S Pro is good. I don't know the name. Superb. Fine. That's great. Good morning to all. I'm excited to welcome a diverse and engaged group of HR professionals gathered here from various organizations for the webinar today. And thank you so much for all to gathering today. In today's dynamic and competitive business environment, the role of human resource has evolved significantly. HR professionals are no longer seen as mere administrators, but as strategic partners, driving organizational success through their expertise and insights. My name is Tanvi, currently working as HR head, SPHRI certified. I'm honored to be your host and facilitator for this event. Today's webinar revolves around essential pillars of HR management, each critical to building thriving workplaces and achieving this sustainable growth. Today, we will discuss about strategic human resource management, how to create a positive culture in the organization. As being an HR, we are working on so many practices, how we can align HR practices with the organizational objective. And yes, AI, a big question in all HR's mind, that how AI impacts on HR field. Before we start, I would like to give brief intro about the group Core HRIR, the group which is for HR, because of HR, and is for us. So this group we started in 2017 with the objective of a credible global HR network to understand, appreciate, and share current and future aspects of HR. One second. Till today, we are associated with more than 12,000 HR professionals. We are certified associate with the HRCI organization. Like till today, 13 batches have been associated with us, cleared the exam of HRCI. This is a platform where we can share our knowledge. We can learn from our leaders, from the wisdom, from the minds. This is the core team member, Mr. V. Bharat, Bhanu Pratap Singh, Kirti Rawat, Kashesh Verma, Mr. Praveen, Jyoti Sharma, Anu Agarwal, Swarna Sudha Selvaj, and Kamal Patiana. They are providing really a good contribution for this group. These are the big logos in our page. So these are the logo from various HRs are connected with core HRIR group. I would like to share a brief journey. Like we started in 2017 and we started our journey with the Chai Buddy series, where we were discussing about the HR challenges, we were discussing about the networking, we discussed about the HR trends. And then gradually we moved to the learning weekend series. Yes, then not and all, like, but we awarded, we recognized the efforts of our HR fraternity, HR members. We had a lot to get a new jobs during their career. And we are collaborated with HRCI USA, as we said earlier, that almost 13 batches have been cleared exam of HRCI. Now in 2020, we have launched a back chapter in Singapore. These are the few glimpses of our journey of our events, which we have done so far, the Chai Buddy series, HR think tanks, Shining Awards, Mega HR conclaves, HR master classes, learning weekends. We are present in social media, in Core HRIR, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. So I will say, please share your view, your experiences on social media, but please do not forget to hashtag Core HRIR. So please post whatever you learned today from our keynote speaker. These are the few glimpses. This is the road ahead we have for our HRs. So as I say, I'll not take much time because I know you all must be waiting. 1 second. Okay, so let's embark on this learning journey together. I invite you to open your mind, take notes, and live with a renewed sense of purpose in your HR roles. I would like to invite today's keynote speaker, Mr. Adil Malia sir, a human resource professional with versatile experience in the domains of people management, change management, and leadership. He has worked in senior management and board roles in diverse industries like manufacturing, services, FMCG, infrastructure, retail, and so on, so on, so on. He is passionate about people. He writes in several magazines on leadership. He is well-recognized ruler, social media enthusiast. He has won several national and international awards, including the HR Grandmaster Award at the WHR Congress. He is ranked one amongst the list of top 110 influential global leaders by People Hub, global ranking organization. Sir firmly believes that one first needs to be a good person, then everything else follows. Very rightly said, sir. So can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Adil Malia, sir, to welcome here? We all are here. Can we have, please? A big opportunity for all HR fraternities to have sir with us. Good morning, sir. We are honored to have you as a keynote speaker for this webinar. Your expertise in these areas will undoubtedly provide invaluable insights to our audience of HR professionals. So now stage is to you, over to you, sir. I just would like to say to all the people, Please put your questions on the chat box. We'll take the questions in between of the discussion, and please keep yourself on mute. So let's start. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, stage is over to you.
So thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for wanting to listen to me on a Saturday morning after a long week when you are tired and you would love to be in your bed. Here you are awake and wanting to listen to me. So that's so much of respect, and thank you for giving me that respect. Thank you, Veer. Thank you, Parveen. Thank you, Tanvi, for wanting to host me in this session. Not many people have shown any interest in wanting to host me. So thank you for doing that. I'm really honored. So I'm going to be discussing today on a very, very critical theme, which I believe is at the core of the crisis and the core of the success of what good HR professionals need to be mindful about. I'm going to talk about the great blend between the science of human resources management and the art of people management. Now, you need to understand, you need to differentiate between the science of human resources management and the art of people management. One is a science, the other is an art, and the so are two blended that actually when you start trying to understand the two, you have to dissect it with the delicate scalpel of a surgeon and not the knife of a butcher. If you put a knife of the butcher to differentiate, you will not be able to do that because they are so intertwined. But if you use this scalpel of a graceful surgeon, you will be able to know the difference between the science of human resources management and the art of people management, and how the two are different, and yet how the two come together to make a successful leader be a very, very effective and efficient human resources manager. The way I have designed this question is like this, that number one, I genuinely believe that there are always those very, very critical questions which help us to understand a situation, which we never invest time to understand. So I'm going to raise those 4 or 5 very, very critical questions, which you as human resources professionals should have asked. And in case you have not asked, I would love to answer those questions to be able to tell you as to what is the difference between the two. Therefore, what should be your strategy, your organization's HR strategy, and your individual HR strategy to be successful and efficient in the future? And therefore, what is going to be the future of HR? Because times out of number, people keep asking me, are HR managers going to ever have a job in line of the digital challenges that they are having? So around the whole process, those 4 or 5 questions and these 2 or 3 things is what I will discuss in the next few moments. And I hope that will enable me to also answer some of the questions that you have in mind. So I'm going to ask 5 questions, and I'm going to tell you which are those questions and then discuss around this. The first is that, do people really understand the difference between people and human resources? Or is it that we use the terminologies very, very interchangeably? Sometimes we call it people management, sometimes we call it human resources management, and then as a consequence of which end up creating an entire hash in our mind between what is human resources management and what is people management. So number one is that difference between what is people and what is human resources management. The second question I want to ask and discuss about is, what is it that when graduates pass out from same institutes, reading the same books, under the same professors, yet one of them passes out and becomes a successful manager in the operating world versus the other who passes along with him from the same class and the same books and the same professors does not end up becoming as successful as he operates in the business world? And what is it that causes that difference? And therefore the idea is, would you be learning from those who are succeeding, having passed from the same colleges, so that you can also succeed by using those skill sets? The third is a very, very critical question that I'm going to raise, which you as HR strategic partners that you all want to talk about. We all want to talk about becoming effective strategic HR business partners. Right from the time that the great book on HR as a strategic partner was written, everyone, whether they read the book or not, but in the CV certainly ended up writing that my idea and target is to become a strategic human resources partner. So what is the difference between efficiency and effectiveness? which are the roles of a strategic business partner, and how can you do that? That's another question I'm going to answer. The second last question I'm going to ask is, what is the difference between an art and a science? What is it that an artist can do which is appealing versus what is it that a scientist in you as an HR professional also needs to be doing? So how do we evoke the artist of the HR manager and the scientist in the HR manager to come together and blend to become an effective business partner? And therefore, what should be your strategy? And therefore, in future, ideally, what should you as HR managers be doing to be successful? And this is how I'm going to cover the entire topic in mind. So I'm going to take you to the first question of what is the difference between people and human resources, or are they interchangeable? Surely you will say they are interchangeable because we have ourselves been sometimes saying people management, sometimes HR management, as if they are the synonymous terminologies. Yes, they are synonymous and yet they are different. And let me explain to you how. So number one is, what is human resources? Let me explain that to you. Now, a corporation or a business house, the purpose of the business house is wealth creation. And it goes on the journey of this wealth creation using various sectors of value creation, like land, technology, capital, logistics, networks, plants, machineries, and human resources, all right? Because human resources is one of the mixing of various resources which an organization brings together to create value for the business. To that extent, human is a resource like any other resources in the value creation journey. And the businesses, therefore, end up looking at this as a resource, which is an element of cost from which efficiency has to be generated. Because the final value is a sum total of, am I able to extract higher and higher value from a resource at the lowest possible cost? All right. So that is what human resource is. And therefore, when you are taking and when you look at human resources and when your business managers will tell you, but what is the benefit I'm getting out of this? What is the return on human capital? Or what is the return on my programs that I'm investing in what you are suggesting to me? How should I look at it? Where is the efficiency increase? Where is the productivity increase? He is looking upon all these investments in people and their development purely from a commercial and a business perspective. And there's nothing wrong about it. Let me tell you that there's nothing right about the other and wrong about this. It is very critical because businesses have to survive, businesses have to generate profits, businesses have to succeed. And unless and until they do that, the very survival of the organization and the people who work will be in doubt. Therefore, there is nothing wrong in looking at human resources as contributory, efficient resources which help a business generate greater and greater profits. The consequence of this approach is that there is a business focus totally to it, which is very critical, as I told you. Costs and contributions are always constantly, and therefore you should always be mindful as a business partner because your boss or your manager or your owner is constantly trying to see what is the value I'm creating. And therefore, costs and contributions are very, very critical for you when you go ahead and do that. The use and disuse are a very, very common thing because the moment they find that this particular asset is not contributing or this particular person is not contributing worth the cost that I have to pay, the chances are that they will say, okay, either disuse it or replace it because I have to generate more profits, and which is right because businesses have to thrive on that. And of course, unfortunately, as a consequence of this, this particular aspect of the role looks upon slightly cold approach to a warm resource, which is a breathing human resource of the organization. But it is not wrong for the business and the HR partner to be also in one way looking at human resources as successful mix of a value creating combination of different resources to generate value for the company. So human resources management, is that what I said? Focus is creating efficiency so that higher and higher results come out of it. On the other hand, you also have to understand that we are trying to differentiate between human resources and people management. Unfortunately, human resources management constantly becomes very dependent on people management, because the prime resource of value creation is not only a mix in the larger things, but is also a very unique factor of value creation, or a very different kind of resource than the non-living resources which are part of the mix for value creation that a business uses. How is it different? Number one, it is the only resource that is warm and breathing. It is the only resource which has got emotions. It is the only resource that gets sways and gets motivated depending on the sentiments and the reciprocities. You reciprocate with love and they will start producing. You reciprocate with anger and they will start getting demotivated and on. So you can get angry at the land and land will not bother about you. But human resources, because they come with emotions, they are certainly going to be reciprocal. It's the only resources that reciprocates. And the most beautiful part is that it has the unique ability to make magical contributions that you can't imagine, the kind of things that people can use. And therefore, if you tap into the potential of the human resource, that is, you understand the person, you understand people, and use your people management skills, then the potential that the guy has can create magical results for your business. And therefore, people management is also critical. All right. So to be able to do effective people management, you require a certain element of softness, you require certain empathy, you need to be recognizing, etc., etc. So the criticality of the question is both required for effective performance of your role as a business partner. Scientific human resources management on the one hand, and effective people management on the other end, in a judicious balance. Now, when you look at people management, you have to remember the word camel. You've seen a camel, right? A camel which is never straight line. You can never define the shape. Sometimes it is up, sometimes it is down, sometimes it is up again. Which is to say that you cannot have a straight line approach when you are dealing with people. You have to keep changing with the contours and the shapes of the realities of the individual who you are dealing with. And that is how, the moment you talk about people management, the image of a camel should come into your mind. The entire desire to go up and down depending on the situation and depending on the requirements of the individual, because scientific human resources management equates everyone because they believe in fairness, which is good, but effective people management recognizes that people are different, they are unique, you have to bend, you have to backwards go, you have to be subjective and not as objective as human resources management is all about. So look at camel and think of that. Also, the word camel is abbreviated to explain to you what are the things good HR managers should do to become effective people management. And all of that is covered in the abbreviation of the word camel, anagram camel. One is connecting. Second is acknowledging. Third is motivating. Fourth is empathizing. And fifth is listening. And only when you are running your successful human resources management systems, programs, processes, but alongside you are connecting the individual with the corporate purposes and corporate roles, you are acknowledging the contributions that he is making continuously, you are constantly listening to him and not only telling him, you are empathizing with his emotional realities because he is a very emotional resource, and you're constantly listening to him. That is the point of time you become an effective people manager. So when you run your scientific systems, the fears are that you will lose your people. But when you are also simultaneously blending elements of effective people management, then you become an effective HR people leader, which is what a strategic business partnership role is all about. So that answers my first question. What is the difference between human resources management on the one hand and on people management? Is there any question that you have, Tanvi, from the group, which you believe will help in clarifying this particular issue? Or should I program further?
Any question from the audience regarding the same topic? If you have, you can put in a chat box as we'll move further. I think so. Then we can move forward and then we'll take the question in the end.
Sure. No problem at all. But I just wanted to say that, piece to piece, we will ask questions so that if anyone has any direct question, immediately they can ask you on the chat box. The second question now that we want to handle is that what is it about some people who pass out from the same college, same institute, sitting on the same benches, listening to the same professors, reading the same books, appearing for the same exams. If you're part of the same college, I want to believe that the level of intelligence would be average in a common kind of a thingy. Some may be high, but the average will be similar. So when everything is same and both pass out through the same exams, appearing for the same and getting good results, why is it that one set of people from that group, when they start going into the organization, doing similar jobs initially, but later on, what is it that makes some people more successful? And you would have experienced it yourself. Either ways, whether you are in this group or that group, you would have realized that some people from that group are far more successful in moving upwards or are upward mobile in their careers as compared to the rest of the group. Are they eating some different food? Are they eating some high yield variety breakfast? Are their wives and husbands giving some additional dosages of love that they are able to perform better? Those are the kind of questions that come to your mind. So what is it that makes a difference? So when a research was done with around 200 professional leaders, and I had led that research, we found that there were 5 or 6 critical elements which contributed similar qualified people from the same universities, one group moving up and one group moving down. These were the 5 elements that were identified by those who were succeeding as the contributory elements which led to their success after they passed out from their colleges. Number 1, reflective potential. These people who were succeeding were able to show to the higher management the potential that they had by being able to do or show in some way the potential they carried. Versus those who did not succeed may have had the potential, but their ability to show their potential to the top management was questionable, or they never succeeded in showing that potential to the management, therefore never considered. So number 1, what is your ability to show your reflective potential to the top management is very, very critical, which you should be knowing. The second is the stretch shown. Have you in your work been able to show that you are willing to make the stretch and do many more critical things than what your role demands? Or have you been someone who has been saying, no, this is my role, I will do it the best, but I'm not either showing any desire to learn new things or contribute to new roles or wanting to show enthusiasm and interest in trying to learn new things? That was not there. So whenever someone showed the stretch, he was able to move faster as one of the contributing elements. The third was desire to learn, and you had to keep showing the desire to learn to your managers to be able to show that you are now getting ready for growth, which led to growth, which is one of the contributions which successful managers identify. And I'll read out the rest. It says sharp analytical skills. People don't analyze. They talk human resources management in the air. The ability to analyze the data and from the analysis, be able to tell the story and get the insights on the basis of which they designed the programs was very critical. So those who were not analytical tended to pick up programs from best practices of one company or best practices of another company, or they heard something nice or they read something nice. But they had not done the data analytics of their company to reflect to the management as to why that program needs to be done. It is only that we have heard of some good program. This company is giving 50 days of maternity leave, so now let us give maternity leave, irrespective of whether the women working in the organization are in the age group of where they can deliver children or not. So that kind of desire to do sharp analytics. Another factor that contributed was communications, ability to effectively present, ability to communicate, which was much more at the listening end. Communicate, everyone can. We all love speaking. We all love not listening and preparing for our next question to be asked even before the question is answered. But that is what made the difference, that people who were successful were actually listening in real time. And this is not some theory from a book. This is the experiences of people who had actually succeeded, though they all passed out from the same college where chapter on communication was uniformly taught to everybody. And the last and the most critical, which contributed, because when we told them to give weightages, whilst they gave different weightages, they gave 40% weightage of what contributed to their success to interpersonal network of relationships they built in the organization, upwards and downwards. Mind the words, interpersonal network of relationships in the organization and outside that help them to build positive influence, positive relationships, positive image, and thus they ended up growing. Therefore, success is coming out as you keep going higher and higher. Your success comes not from your scientific ability to bring efficiency in the organization. It does come, but the greater contribution is on your interpersonal skills and those elements which help you to successfully manage people and not human resources alone. Human resources contributes around 40% of that, versus the skill sets required for you to effectively manage people management. Those skill sets, the camel skill sets, were the ones which contributed around 60% of success contributors to your group. So that's the second question I had in mind. Any questions, Tanvi, anyone has on this?
Yeah, sir, we have a few questions related to these topics, which our audience asked earlier.
Take one question, not more.
Okay. So you shared your one first parameter that we need to showcase, right? That talent also we should have, that we can tell to our management that yes, we can do, and we have those capabilities. So one our audience has asked the question that what exactly management expect from their HR, what they want to listen and what their expectations, so that we can show our talent, we can show our contribution. So what's their expectation?
So Tanvi and whoever is the person who has asked this question, I wish I knew your name. I would have loved to address you because I don't like this impersonal addresses. But what is very important is don't you be the answer booklet. You be the one who is on your own going to show them the various things that you are able to do for them beyond the remit of the role they have given you. Don't expect them to say, this is what we are expecting, this is our question, and then you go and write an answer and show, see, I've got the answer for it. That's never going to happen. No one. If you keep waiting for the question to be asked, you will end up retiring, waiting for that question to come to you. Ability to put your skill sets in jobs and show the stretch should make the person believe, this is exactly, I was wrong, I was expecting the wrong thing. This is exactly what I need from my HR guy so that we can deliver value, rather than waiting for him to say, question kya hai mera? Aapke paas uska jawab hai kya? Us question ke liye agar ruke, तो आपके बाल मेरे जैसे सफेद हो जाएंगे, मैं भी ऐसे ही काले बाल में था आप जैसे, और अब मेरे भी सफेद हो गए, लेकिन मेरे को किसी ने वो सवाल नहीं पूछा। मैंने ही खुद जाके उनको बताया कि आपको पता नहीं है सर, आपके मैनेजमेंट के इसकी जरूरत है, सिर्फ इसकी नहीं, आप गलत सोच रहे हैं। And then show them that, and then they say, yes, you're right, actually we need that. Does it answer your question?
Yes, sir. And you asked the name, Dipen Sharma asked this question.
So Dipen, I'm sorry, I didn't know your name, so I addressed you in an impersonal way, not my style. I love to answer questions with the name so that you understand what I'm trying to say. I hope I have been able to answer your question, Dipen.
Thank you. If Dipen will be here, definitely he must have been satisfied. Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, so I'm progressing to ask the third question. What is the difference between efficiency and effectiveness? And most people also don't know this. You know, times out of number, my experiences and my sadness is also coming from the fact that HR managers don't think, they don't apply. They all are wanting to be strategic business partners without answering in their own minds some of these critical questions, if which they would have answered, they would have really ended up becoming that what they are aspiring to become. So let me, in fact, put the questions in your minds as I answer them so that you yourself start thinking about it, so that you can see, how can I do this both efficiency
It seems we lost. Veer, can you hear?
Somebody has muted, sir. Sir, you have to unmute yourself.
Sir, you are muted.
Hello,
Yeah, thank you, sir.
am I there?
Yeah.
Hello,
Yes, sir. Now we can listen you. We lost you for a few seconds.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't hear you for strange reasons. I'm going ahead with it. I'm going to be doing this blind shot like what Arjuna did, putting a blindfold and shooting the arrow when the sound came. So I'm presuming you are hearing me. So keep showing me your actions, but I cannot hear you at this point of time. And I wonder why, but that's okay. So what is the
Sir, again you are mute. We can't hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm getting it. All right.
Okay.
I just say something, Tanvi.
So we can hear you, sir, now.
So I think it's from your end because when you called, I got the.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Okay, so I'm going to talk and y'all try it. So what is the difference between efficiency and effectiveness? Efficiency is about an organization's ability to get the highest output with least waste and minimum expenditure and effort involved. So when all these resources are involved in the process of creating value, efficiency is about how the organization runs its systems, programs, processes, etc., to create maximum output from the mix of the various factors which have gone into creating value for the organization. It is such a state of efficiency that nothing more than that can be created out of that system without adding further money, without adding resources, without adding investments, anything like that. So it is very, very important that organizations invest time in trying to create that value through efficient use of resources. You as a manager in an organization have to use your strategic human resources management systems with an intention to create efficient, which is the highest possible contributions that you can get from the human resources in the combination mix, so that the organization is happy about the role that human resources play to be able to contribute the maximum. Nothing more than that can be achieved. That is efficiency. Nothing more can be achieved. All right, not even 1 point. And you as a leader have to do that. Efficiency is created by knowledge, use of technology, management systems, programs, artificial intelligence, and all of that. Okay, so that's efficiency. Full utilization, which you as an HR manager are supposed to bring efficiency to your organization when it comes to human resources and other systems. The other is about effectiveness. Now, what is effectiveness? Effectiveness is the magic beyond logic. Understand the words I'm using. It is the magic beyond logic. Ability of leadership to use its esoteric appeal, its magical appeal, to be able to get output by utilizing people management skills, so that without any further investments, the organization is able to effectively give results and deliver greater value without investment of any resources or getting new people or investing in new technology. So efficiency creates maximum use in a very scientific way by using knowledge, your knowledge of HR, your knowledge of systems, your knowledge of how to make it operate, what is fairness, performance management systems, all of that. You create efficiency out of that. And then go ahead and use effectiveness to be using the people management skills to be able to generate much more out of the people's ability to connect with what the leader is doing for them, so that the value is going up without any further investments. You as a leader, as a business partner, are supposed to be focusing on both. Focusing to ensure that your strategic HR management systems and programs and processes which you have brought in give you the maximum efficiency. And simultaneously, you are able to create higher value without making any investments from the organization to create better productivity, better output, and things like that. Okay? It involves things like reach out authentically. Are you able to reach out to your people authentically when they are working? Are you able to emotionally connect with them? Are you sensitive to their concerns when they are making? Are you communicating effectively with them? Are you listening to them? And are you developing a long-term relationship where they feel secured? Effectiveness is an outcome of, do I feel secure? Now let us look at what people did when the COVID was on. 1 week prior or 1 month prior, the organizations were talking to their people and saying, Vasudeva Kutumba, I am one family, you are one family with me, and I am going to be your protector at what point of needs, irrespective of whether you are able to this or that. You're part of my large family, I'll take care of you. He started believing. And come COVID, in 2 months' time, the first decisions they wanted to take were predominantly focused on how do I reduce people? When he needed my support, when he needed my security, when he needed my warmth, I was the first one out of the window when that entire presentation of Vasudeva Kutumba within 2 months of business making loss. And therefore, we started focusing on efficiencies. We forgot the rules of effectiveness. And now when the systems have become normal, we say, but why don't you trust us? Now the question is, why should he trust you? When the moment his own security, your security came into question, you decided to barter my security for your efficiency. And now you are telling me that I should stretch out and give. Effectiveness is about making the person so comfortable that he gives his discretionary energy for contributions. Each one of us has got that discretionary ability within us, which is the hidden power within us, which we will use when we feel motivated, which we will use when we feel part of the story, but which we will not use. We will perform our roles efficiently, but we will not do effectively if I do not feel connected, if I do not feel motivated, etc. Therefore, how do leaders encourage people and motivate people to use that discretionary powers that they have within it to create greater and greater value for the company? So that is the difference between efficiency and effectiveness. Now, I'm not going to wait for questions because I can't hear you. All right, so I'm blind shooting like Arjuna at the bird. I'm unable to hear you at all, but I hope I'm able to communicate. So keep periodically showing me a thumbs up if you're listening and connecting with what I'm saying. All right, so good. So the Arjuna must have got some signal from the bird that you're shooting the arrow in the right direction. Good. All right, so that is the difference. The third question we were asking is, what is the difference between efficiency and effectiveness? All right, so I hope I have clarified that difference. The second last point which I wanted to talk in the journey was, what is the difference between an art and science? Because at some point I'm going to tell you that the artistic HR jobs are going to remain and the scientific HR jobs are going to be taken away by the digital world, which will be able to algorithmize all the scientific jobs which are based on knowledge and logic. They are going to go away to technology and digitization. Therefore, how do we end up creating skill sets and developing skill sets which are more artistic HR skill sets, which digitization or any kind of artificial intelligence will not be able to take away, and which will be a critical blend along with the efficient HR systems to deliver value to the organization. Not that when digitization happens that people are using AI, are they really looking out for any kind of human touch? No, that's wrong. They're constantly going to keep looking out for human touch. They are constantly going to have someone wanting to listen. And I hate to talk to bots. I hate to talk to bots. I hate to receive letters which are digitally signed? Because it tells me some 500 people may have received this letter. There's nothing personal about me. So this organization doesn't value me. I must be one of the 1,000 people who must have been told, you are a great performer in the system, like the starting of a letter in increment. They say, thank you for your many contributions in the year, whether I've contributed or not, but the standard letter is there. It doesn't motivate. So therefore, how do I use this element of artistry to be able to continue to do the job? So what is the difference between science and art? Science is purely data-based. Science is purely logical. Science is purely information and knowledge-based. Science predominantly drives towards uniformity, because in the organization, I want systems, processes, and programs which are fairly and uniformly applied to anyone else. Nothing wrong about it. So it is very necessary. I want measurements and results. So there's nothing wrong in it. Science gives you measurements and results. And science makes it critical for something to be called a science. It should have an element of repeatability. I should be able to repeat it when I use the same process. All right. Now, art is exactly the opposite. Art is about not a data-based application. It is about sensitive, need-based application, like the camel. It is emotional connections. It is empathy, skill, those kind of factors, and not knowledge and information. It is much more gut-based rather than mathematical outcome-based. It is much more relationship-driven rather than only measured. And non-repeatability, because what I may want to do and handle a person in a case in one way is not necessary that I would handle the second case in exactly the same way, because it is individualized and subjective. Now, how do I manage this? On the one hand, I'm supposed to manage the science, and on the other hand, I have to give the artistic skills to be able to manage that part which is artistical and subjective in the organization to people. Why do the great places to work actually have people who are still attriting from the company? This question should have come to mind. If they are such a great place to work, why do people leave the organization? So one of the reasons they leave is that they are a great place to work because their systematic and strategic human resources management systems are working well, but the artistry of people management is missing. Therefore, we tend to evaluate programs, systems, processes to identify a great place to work on the basis of the science of human resources management. But people are human resources are also people, and they are looking out for artistic people management skills, which, if not indicated, they would want to attrite, leave, and join another company where it's not necessarily only money, but it is also the artistic touch and the personal effect that they would perceive is identified and experienced by them. So that is the difference. A good, successful human resources management should actually be able to reflect both the science of efficiency and the power of effectiveness, and use the science of management versus the art of people management also. Okay, so this is the second question. Now, the greatest blunder of human mankind all over the world has been that we do not know when to use the word and when to use the word or. We are constantly confused between and or. So all the alternatives I told you, whether science or art, effectiveness or efficiency, this or that, these questions are actually, the real answer is this and that in both the cases. I want efficiency and effectiveness. I want the science of HR and the art of HR. I want all the elements to be able to blend. So the role of an effective HR manager in the going times is about how do I become an effective blender of both worlds. Instead of saying there is only one option, there are two options and both have to work together to get the results. That is the focus. So it's not or, it is always and that we need to worry about. When you look at scientific human resources management, what is it that you are looking? So you are looking at how do I efficiently, and I spoke about what is efficiency, explain to you what is efficiency. How do you efficiently manage the life cycle of the human resources processes. How do I get talent? What do I compensate with them? How do I grow them? How do I provide a protection and guard them from leaving the organization? How do I govern them? How do I galvanize them? How do I germinate? There's a 9G model of mine, which I keep taking sessions for groups like you about how do the 9G of HR operate. So those are the things effectively and scientifically managed will give you the strategic human resources management, and therefore will give you very objective HR systems in the organization, which is very, very, all right. But your scientific HR systems have to manage with sensitivity, persuasion, care and wellness, relationships, equity and equality, fairness in the approach, and greatest of all with interpersonal skills. More often than not, I have heard HR guys saying, this is our system, take it or leave it after some time. All right, kya karenge, hota hai kabhi kabhi, take it or leave it. The moment you say take it or leave it, without trying to use that little artistic skill, the skill of a surgeon, rather than that of a butcher, as I told you, we don't remember in your mind, you don't need a butcher, you need an artistic surgeon who with his scalpel is able to differentiate and use the systems effectively for the person based on his requirements. And that is very, very important. So what should the HR manager's strategy be? So I have a 5-point strategy. So if you're going to decide your HR strategy, or you want to decide what should I be doing in my company, in my role, I have a 5-point strategy which you should understand. Number 1 is professionalize your HRM processes, your strategic HR management processes. You need to professionalize. This is point number 1 I'm giving you. Professionalize HRM processes with use of digital technology, which you have no alternative, but use digital technology. Make it self-serve. Because what we end up doing is that we lose a lot of relationships when people keep coming to your HR department for leave balances and we keep calling them 500 times to give the same information. Versus when this information is available somewhere in the system, he can self-serve himself and get that data. So focus on trying to create scientific HRM processes which are interconnected and use the digital technology to the optimum level of what it is available. Make it self-service, number 1. Make it mobile friendly because people are moving and they want to access their information, data, whatever they want, processes, approvals, not only of your leave balances, but do their appraisals, do whatever they want to do whilst they are mobile. That's the technology going. So make your systems self-serving, make them mobile. Third is make all your decisions data-based. It is very important that it should be database and it should not be just, without data and telling you, 50% say there when actually you sit to collect data, only 20% are saying that. So therefore, all your decisions should be database and use predictive analysis. That from the analysis, what is my prediction of how the situation will emerge? So the first point is this, where professionalize HR processes with the use of digital technology, make it self-serve, make it mobile friendly, use database tools, and make it create predictiveness for higher efficiency. Because remember, all these systems focuses efficiency. So to get better efficiency, these are the things you need to do. That's strategy number 1. Strategy number 2 is allow digital systems to analyze and provide insights into behaviors and expectations of people in your organization. We are collecting data, reams and reams of data. Whenever I go to companies where I'm consulting and I ask them, give me this data, give me that data, they'll give me reams of paper where all kinds of data you require in the universe is available, and he believes his job is over. सबको मैंने Excel sheet में डाल दिया या कोई system में से हमने उसका report निकाल दिया, सर हमने तो आपको data दे दिया. क्या करूं? Data का मैं क्या करूं? वो data क्या कहानी बताती है मुझे बताओ. उसको एनालाइज करके बताइए कि ये जो डेटा को मैं अगर एक कहानी लिखना चाहूं तो ये क्या कहानी कहता है, उसका एनालिसिस क्या है, इससे मुझे क्या ज्ञान मिलता है, वो ज्ञान का मैं क्या कर सकता हूं टू बिकम इफेक्टिव इन माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ पीपल एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ सिस्टम. That is what your second focus should be. So those who will do that will have systems which are connected to people. Those who don't do that, data will be lying on the one end and your systems will be on different end. You are going east, the data is showing west, and the journey will never. So second is, how do I tell the narrative stories based on the technology I use and the data I collect to be able to throw reflective insights on what people's real issues and cares are. The third strategy that I would use of the 5 strategies, keep upgrading and let your systems constantly get ready for the newer generations of people who will join. So a constant updation of systems is required. You may have updated it for the requirement of people and the level of knowledge and technology for today's system, but it is very necessary that these systems and programs are ready for the newer generations of people who will be coming into the organization. So don't believe you have reached the end state of technology. In efficiency, there is never an end stage. By putting a few lubricants, you can get better efficiencies out of petrol. And that is exactly what you are trying to do, all right? How do I keep upgrading my technology and systems to keep it ready and make it attractive for newer generations of people to join my organization? All right, so that's your third. Now, fourth and the fifth roles. So first, second, and third roles are, first two are pure efficiency roles. Third role is where I'm using efficiency to show me insights where I can use my effectiveness and people management effectively. First two are focused on HR. Third is how am I using my HR management to give me data for effective people management. My fourth strategy is personalize your people management systems. Now you see, till now I was making it objective and uniform for everyone. Now I'm saying your strategy should be to personalize your people management systems, to emotionally connect, motivate, acknowledge, listen, and empathize with people. What are my ongoing systems and skills from development perspectives for my leaders? And what are the programs I do to listen to them, to motivate them, to connect with them, to acknowledge them, and overall also provide them empathy? Because if they are feeling something, there are lots of systems where every day in the morning you get up and they will ask you, how do you feel? And there are 5 emoticons, one crying face, one not so crying face, and the last is a laughing face. I know of people who have come and said, sir, मैं 20 दिन से बता रहा हूँ crying face, but no one has come and asked me, why am I crying? तो उसका मैं क्या करूँ? Now I don't want to give the data because I told that 20 days I'm crying. But no one asked me, not HR manager, not my leader, not my business. I don't even know whether they know. For 20 days, I've told them I'm crying. No one has come and even asked me, how impersonal is this? And now they are thinking I should be motivated. The system is very good, but people management is very good. And therefore, I'm. So it's very important to manage both of them. So that's your fourth strategy. Fifth, balancing with wisdom. Using wisdom, and that is a very rare quality you will get in leadership, either in business or in HR. But that is the quality you should focus on trying to develop the most. Okay, balancing with wisdom. HR leaders, when HRM facility efficiencies are conflicting with people management effectiveness. So a time will come when your HR efficient systems will get into a conflict with your people management systems. All right. Which is to say, I have done a performance management system, and on an evaluation basis, there is one guy for strange reasons has not been able to perform in one particular year, but he performed very well in the previous year. But this year his performance was very poor. Therefore, according to my fairness, I should give increments and I should give everything only to the people who have contributed to this year. This year you have not performed. I should give you a warning letter because I was giving warning letter to the non-performers. But unless and until when in a state of conflict like this, your effective people management are wisely used to sit down with that person and understand, भैया क्या हो गया कि इस साल तूने परफॉर्मेंस इतना इम्पैक्ट किया, क्या तेरी परिस्थिति खराब है, क्या तेरे बॉस ने कुछ कहा हुआ है, क्या तेरे रिसोर्सेज में दिक्कत थी, क्या तेरी तबीयत बराबर नहीं थी. So unless and until in a state of conflict, leadership uses its wisdom to intervene with people management skills when the scientific human resources management systems which bring efficiency and uniformity are in a state of conflict with the personal, subjective people management challenges. So that is one of the most important. These are the 5 strategies that I would recommend to any company when they go ahead and they develop their systems. Now, the question that constantly keeps getting asked is that what's going to happen in the future? Everything is going to be taken over. The way we are looking at it, digitization is taking over every possible program, every possible system. Therefore, what are we going to be doing? Now, the real challenge is everything that has to be digitized is going to be digitized. All right. So those parts of your job which were disguised employment, that you were actually doing clerical jobs of collecting data, analyzing data, and all of those things which you believe were very important part of your job, which now can be done by systematically writing programs and algorithms, are going away. But in the first place, according to me, they were not really the HR jobs. They were clerical jobs of personnel administration, which you were doing as an HR manager. Your fault. What you need to master, and which can never be taken away by any algorithm, are the artistry of people management, the magic of people management, the magic of Camel, where you are able to communicate with him, where you are able to effectively connect with him, where you are able to acknowledge the role that he plays, where you are able to motivate him, where you are able to empathize with him, and when you are able to listen to him. Those systems, algorithms will never be able to take. So when you will start developing your mastery over the art of people management, so your role will be, as I said, both create more and more efficiency, but at the same time develop higher and higher mastery over people management, so that between the two of you, you are able to deliver to your organization the value it needs to create, because that's how human resources value will get created. Now, who is going to do that? And my favorite quote, as always, I'm going to say, ख्वाहिशों से नहीं खिलते फूल दामन में, वक्त की साख को हिलाने में, कुछ नहीं होगा अंधेरों को कोसने से, अपने हिस्से का दिया खुद ही जलाना. You will have to do it. There is no magical formula. There is no package in the market you will get which will say, okay, effective system, HR system management and efficient HR system management and effective people management. ये दोनों system को ले लो, आप machine पे बैठ जाओ, हो जाएगा. Not available. You will have to. There is no consultant, no nobody. Develop your skills, learn your skills, apply your skills. So this is where I am. How will you as HR managers protect your jobs? How will you develop as effective leaders? How will you become the real strategic human resources managers that you want to become? And therefore, how will you succeed? So this is the summary. Now, I'm trying to play around now. We're trying to see how I can get my voice back and listening back, because I did not want to try when my session was incomplete. So now I'm going to try something and see if I can somehow connect with you.
Can
Do
you
you
hear?
think my joining back will make a difference?
We can try, right? We can try. He can join back.
Can you hear me?
We can
Hello?
hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, let me try this. 1 second. Give me only one
Sure.
last few minutes. Give me last few minutes. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can
Okay.
hear you now. All right. So
Thank
this was the summary. Are there any questions? I hope I've delivered what I wanted to deliver.
Sure. So audience, if you have any questions, please put into the chat box. And once the team is putting into the chat box, we have few questions which I would like to ask. So thank you so much. Very well, you guided us for the strategic human resource management, difference between the science and art. And you have given the answer about the digitalization also, which we were expecting, that how we will groom ourselves, right? I have one question, which is very generic and which is actually the live questions which we HR at a senior face in the organization. Mr. Jaspal has asked this question, and I would like to ask if, sir, you allow.
Please ask, or you can ask Jaspal to ask, which is both ways okay. I mean.
I'm not sure Mr. Jaspal is here because the question is well shared by him. So I'll read this question. So he has asked that when organization undergoes the changes, right? We are planning to change. We are planning to change in the policies, into the process. We felt the resistance from the old employee. And what happened, despite showing them the benefit and hearing their voice? So in the meetings of the top management, they say, yes, they will support, they are with you, right? But actually they never support. And I believe this is the situation which we all HR face, that whenever we do something new, we face the resistance from the old employees because they are habitual for the same system, and to move into the new system, new process stuff. So how to face those situations, sir, where management think that seniors are with you, but actually they are not with you?
Sure. So there is no magical wand. I cannot tell you that go to a chemist shop and take Vicks Formula 44 tablet, use it 3 times a day, and next week you will develop this skill to convince your old employees to start accepting what you're saying. One of the things that I have observed is that most HR managers end up talking about change without really being convinced that change is necessary. They all come to the belief that, first of all, they all believe they are OD experts. All right, 99 CVs out of 100 in HR, everyone says he's an OD expert, and 99 of them say they have led many important changes in the organization. However, that's not the truth. They may have changed some small systems or not even that. But when they are talking about this, it is very important for you to use more and more and more of your camel skills. You have to use your camel skills to understand why of the resistance. I have seen and led many changes in my client organization where don't believe that this resistance is coming only in your organization. They are also coming because you are disturbing the status quo of certain employees. The old employees are in a state of comfort. You want to move them away. And if you don't have a strong and a logical reason for them to move from their own state of comfort into your discomfortable state, if there's no logic, if there's no strong reason, if there is no compulsion, they are not going to be moving. They will do what is called passive resistance. Outwardly, they will say yes. Inwardly, they will not support. So there is a moment of passive resistance, and a good HR professional has to develop abilities to convince people who reflect passive resistance. All right. So there are chapters and chapters written on how to convince people who are in a state of passive resistance. You will find literature a dozen. You need to develop your strategy. But it is critical that that strategy emerges from your camel skills rather than your scientific insist. The last point which I said, that when your scientific human resources management efficiency systems come into a state of conflict with your effective people management systems, you will need wisdom, which is lacking. And wisdom does not mean I have told you, please do it that way, that is how it is done, or I will go and tell the boss you're not. You do that and you see how they will work towards making your system fail. All right. So it's an art. You have to develop a formula. There are no magical words. But use your camel skills to convince.
Can you please more? Yeah, Shivani, you would like to ask something from this, sir? You have raised your hand. Yeah, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. If you allow me.
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hello, sir. My name is
Hello.
Dr. Shivani Dhan. Sir,
Hi, Shivani.
as you have been discussing about some camel skills, so my question to you is, we all are the professionals, means who all are beyond the age of 25 plus, and the skills which you are talking about, somehow we can call it as soft skills, means motivation, empathy. So I just want to understand that at this age, you know, what are those techniques that we can imply to make people learn those skills? I mean, if I'm talking about students, I mean, a student on an average age 20 plus. So can you hear me?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You'll have to repeat your question. If I understand well, you were trying to understand as to how at this age, at a much
Yes.
adult age in your life, you are able to develop these skill sets.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, one thing is you have to acknowledge the fact that today, wherever the systems are failing, it is because you have not learned the art of managing and using the people management system. That is why it is good. You
So
have to
your
acknowledge
voice
that.
is breaking, sir.
All right, I'm just trying to see once again some systems issue has come. Okay, let me just see what I
Now
can
it's
do.
fine, sir.
All right, but I'm not able to get visual. Okay,
But
anyway,
I can see.
you can see me?
Yes, sir.
All right, I can see your beautiful face. You may see my ugly face, but that's your choice. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So what is
Yes.
important is that this is the shortfall, and you've realized this is the shortfall. Now, the important thing in life is to see how can you overcome this. What is it that you can do to develop your skills? It is like saying that if I don't know maths, and if I have to know maths to be able to do my job, what should I do? Well, you have to learn how to do it, right? What can you do about it?
But actually,
So those are the skills you will have to develop. And those are not skills which are so difficult, right?
but as per my knowledge and understanding, it's very easy to learn technical skills, but
Yeah.
it's difficult to, change the attitude.
Your
Learn
attitudes or
the.
their attitudes? First of
I
all,
mean,
are your attitudes changeable?
it's both ways. It's
Yeah.
both
So
ways.
once you change your attitude and develop tenacity to be able to have resilience, to keep trying again and again and not get frustrated when you see this passive resistance is very important. What we do is that we have a very low tenacity we are not resilient. You fall down 2 or 3 times, you get frustrated and says, don't do it. मेरा क्या फर्क पड़ता है? मैं बॉस को जाके बोल दूंगा आप नहीं कर रहे. But that is the problem you have. You have to enhance your tenacity to have unlimited resilience. All right, and then you are going to succeed. The new leadership style is called anti-fragile leadership. And I hope you read this wonderful book and Nesbitt's Talib's idea of what is anti-fragile leadership. And that is what, because generally leadership in light of failure becomes fragile. It breaks down. And the idea is, how do you become anti-fragile? And that is what you need to do.
So you mean to say that it's only the culture, it's only the again and again never-ending efforts, perseverance is the way where we can.
Communication, convincing, making him see the role, making him see the value, and not getting tired if each time you do and he doesn't do it, and yet one more time go do it.
So do you have any idea about NLP?
Sorry?
That is neuro-linguistic programming.
Of course.
So
But
do
I
you
certainly
think that
believe NLP is a non-science, and not that I don't believe in what it is, but I believe it's a non-science, and therefore I don't get myself engaged in discussing on NLP.
all right. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Very wonderful. You have explained those 6-7 criterias for the research which you have referenced, and it's added great knowledge to my content. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shivani. Thank you, sir. Before proceeding to the next question, I just would like to remind once again to all of you, please share your feedback on social media and do not forget to put hashtag CoreHRIR. Okay. Okay, sir. So I'll take a live question next. Miss Shubhanjali Chakrabarti, she has asked how people management is related to human resource in the corporate world. I believe you have defined very well, but she wants to know. So can we have more here, sir?
I will have to run my session all over again to explain to you the difference between the two, and both are required.
Yeah, because you have shared a very good thoughts on that. So Shubhanjali, I will request you that please go through the YouTube channel to listen this session again, and you will definitely get your answer. So one more question I want to pick is related to learning and development, which is a very booming stream, because now we need to keep upgrade our skills, our team member skills, employee skills to be updated the market. So one question is, how can strategic HR management foster a culture of continuous learning and development within the organization? And what are some best practices for implementing the successful learning programs in the organization? So if you can share.
Madam, to answer that question to my clients, I charge lakhs of rupees. And I'm joking. Within a 2-minute situation on a WhatsApp group. But what is important is to know that your entire system as you construct it should be built on the concept of learning, the skill development, the idea of what is efficiency, how do you bring around efficiencies, and all of that. The organization has to itself get into an open mindset. So learning is not about trying to run some 20 programs of training and development, which are in the calendar. So first understand that, the way most organizations run their training and development initiatives, they want to suddenly call it and label it as learning. That is not learning. That's training and development. They run training and development activities and put a label of learning. Learning means creating an open mindset, which is how does the system and the organization and the business move away from the strategies and market appreciation that it has had in the past to open its minds to the new realities. And therefore, it is about opening the mind through learning process of the organization. And then once you do that, you support that new process with a series of programs. So don't run your classical HR programs, communication skills, writing skills, HR for non-HR, finance for non-finance. Keep running it 500 times and it will not give you results. It will give you results when you will start creating an open mindset in the organization, which values then the developmental inputs because it will take them to the new destination that you want.
Thank you. It's very well said, sir. I really appreciate. Thank you so much. So it's already 11:50, sir. You want me to take the questions, or we can discuss this question later on, and we'll put.
I am okay. If, another 5 minutes, I'm okay.
Okay. Audience, do you have any question for the sir? Because you have covered everything, sir. I must say, we got so many questions. But you covered everything in that session, in the strategic management, culture, AI, digitalization, everything you have covered. So I believe now audience is also, so they are okay. They don't have any question. So should we wrap up this session?
You should.
Okay. So for wrap up, I just would like to extend my heartful gratitude to each and every one of you for being a part of this enriching experience. And I believe you have found immense value in the insights shared by our keynote speakers, Mr. Adil Malia, sir. I would like to express my gratitude to sir for gracing us with their expertise and wisdom. Thank you so much, sir. Your valuable insights have ignited the flame of motivation within each of us. Additionally, I want to extend a special thanks to all our partners for their unwavering support, making this webinar possible and accessible to HR professionals. So again, before wrapping up, I just would like to say—
I want to only say one thing, Tanvi. I hope I have actually sparked a kind of a thought processing spark in your mind and I have not flamed your aspirations.
Tanvi ma'am.
Someone
Hello?
said something.
Pramod Tripathi here.
Pramod ji, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Pramod ji is our chapter lead for Lucknow.
Lovely. Pramod ji, namaskar.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Session was wonderful, sir.
Thank you, Pramod.
वीर जी and आपसे एक request करूंगा, including Tanvi ma'am से कि we request to all the participants और ये सब लोग अपने वीडियो कैमरा को एक बार ऑन करके एक ग्रुप फोटोग्राफ चाहिए होगा.
Definitely, it's a wonderful.
Honorable August presence of Adil Malia, sir.
Yeah.
So सबसे मैं request करूंगा, they put on their camera.
Yeah, it's always good to see beautiful faces in early morning.
Yes.
I'll take this pic definitely.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Birji,
Thank you.
for organizing such good events. and inviting such a legendary people and legendary HR guys. I would talk about the Adil Malia sir. I have read his article and so many seminars and etc. I have heard his voice and their insights on HR. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
I welcome you all to join me. And if you want to keep growing and learning new things, I welcome you to join me on my LinkedIn and my website. My website is www.adilmalia, and you will get every update linked to our domain and our space, leadership change management, if you like to learn more.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Tanvi and V,
Thank
so if
you.
I can take to just hardly 5 seconds. Juhi, the side.
Yes, Juhi.
Adil sir, my reason of taking out time specially to listen to you was because I regularly follow you on LinkedIn, and thank you, V sir, for inviting Adil sir and organizing this from Core HR. Sir, apart from all HR knowledge, I literally in my phone also, I have all those paintings and beautifully quotes that you write every day regularly to motivate. This one is Nikalta hai Suraj Roz hame ye batane ke liye. So I have downloaded it, taken their screenshots, kept in my phone. Whenever I feel a little low, I watch them and read them. And I forward it to people across.
Also read them when you're feeling high.
Oh, sure, I'll do that. But that is another side of you, which I'm not sure if everybody follows you, knows it, apart from your expertise in HR. So thank you on a human ground that you motivate others who are around you and follow you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Juhi. And yeah,
Pleasure.
there's no doubt, Lisa. You are the few leaders. Everyone would like to be learn from you. Thank you so much. So at the last, I just would like to say, wishing you all the best in your HR endeavors. Stay inspired and keep driving positive change. Thank you so much for giving us time,
My
sir,
pleasure.
on this
My pleasure.
Saturday morning. Thank you so much,
My
sir.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Virji.
Thank you, everyone. Signing off.